Hi, I'm Michelle Sterling for Friends of Science Society. The United Kingdom is in an energy crisis. And why? Mostly because they have no reserve capacity in their electricity grid. What they did is they phased out coal, and on top of that they added a lot of wind. When you add wind, you have to add equivalent conventional power, either nuclear or coal-fired or natural gas, and usually natural gas is the preferred backup because, like a gas stove, you can turn the gas up or down rather quickly. It's called a peaking plant to back up when the wind drops off. But what happened in the UK is that wind dropped off for about 35 days. And suddenly they found themselves without enough natural gas. And they also didn't have enough natural gas storage. And there have been interruptions in their interconnected line from France and their nuclear power plants to England. Apparently there was some kind of a fire. So they don't have any power to import via that route. Now, around the world, natural gas prices are soaring because as markets return to activity, there's been a huge demand for natural gas. And in some places, certain countries are playing the market and constraining demand to drive up prices. So it's really a perfect storm, and a perfect storm going into winter. And what's happened is that there are production plants in the UK that actually have byproduct. They manufacture CO2, but they need natural gas to make that CO2. And ironically, CO2, carbon dioxide, is the thing we're being taxed for, and the thing that people say, oh, it's a pollutant, we better get rid of it. Well, it's also essential for food processing. So without this carbon dioxide gas, certain foods cannot be processed. And some of these plants are simply shutting down because it's too expensive to run the natural gas to produce the CO2. And other kinds of manufacturing are also shutting down because the price of energy is just far too high. So the United Kingdom is going into winter without sufficient natural gas supply. They've actually turned their coal plants back on, which is probably a really good thing, and good that they could turn them back on, because now they have at least a reliable, affordable source of power. But this is what happens when you disable a conventional, reliable grid by adding far too much wind and solar. These are the kinds of things that are also happening in Canada to a lesser degree, because we still have smart people running the grid in most of our provinces. But if we add more wind and solar, we will see these kinds of problems crop up. And no matter what, in Canada, we're going to see energy prices skyrocket as well, because oil, gas, and coal are commodities. They're international commodities, and especially natural gas will spike in a moment as soon as there's demand for it. So we're looking at a cold, dark winter ahead for many people around the world. And people should be prepared. And most important, people should be prepared to demand from their government full cost-benefit analysis of any green ideology that's presented as a done deal. For instance, 100% renewable grid. We need to see how that's going to work, full operational details, and full cost-benefit analysis, and nothing should be implemented until that's on the table and citizens can judge it for themselves. For Friends of Science Society, I'm Michelle Sterling.